Britto was a professor in Loyola College. He must be the richest professor in the country today. Couple of thousand crores is what you become when you are a professor in the initial stages of your career. So all the youngsters can start teaching in colleges and aim to become like him. So how has the journey been, and what has been your greatest learning in this journey?
Thank you very much for this fantastic opportunity. At the outset, I thank Almighty and my parents for this wonderful day.
Don't miss your wife.
Of course, you said, you
have to go back with her.
For every successful person. Probably if you have more women, you have more successes.
Except her, everybody is laughing.
Anyway, it has been I would say it was not a sprint. It was a marathon in my life. I come from a very small village down south, Devakote. Of course, she knows very well, being from the Chettiar community, Mr. Nagu knows. So, a family of 12 children. My mother was a teacher. My father was a clerk in the court. They were finding it very difficult to bring us up. Fortunately, they wanted us to have good education. And my thanks to all the Jesuit institutions. And in the beginning, in my house, I was the most notorious boy, very troublesome. Because I was dismissed from more than 8 schools, my mother had to find another school out of my town. So she took me all the way to Dindikal. There is a place called Dindikal. Put me in a board school. And I would like to briefly tell you how a man's life changes. I was not studying well. And all along, I was brought up only in Tamil medium. I never studied English.
Wow.
And only in the college, I started studying English. And so, when I was admitted into the school, 8th standard, I am really indebted to Father Siranjeevi. Even now, he's alive. And there also, I was fighting with everybody. My nature is like that. I never used to study, fight, and so on. And one day he called me to his room. I said, Britto, in your family, everybody is studying. In fact, my eldest brother is a Jesuit priest. And everybody is studying well. Why you are not doing it? What's the problem with you? Then I used to always sleep on the desk. So he used to call me to his room and give me a cup of coffee. At least now you be awake and do something. And one day he called me. There is going to be Independence Day in the school. My school is very big, more than 6,000 students. You are going to speak from your class. I said, Father, I have never, my brothers are very good speakers. I don't know anything. How I am going to speak? Then Father said, I will write down something. You memorize 10 times, 15 times. You go and speak. If you can't speak, don't worry. Then I was just, I thought he's making fun out of me. Then on that day, Independence Day, all the 6,000 students were sitting in the ground, and each class was talking about Independence Day. My turn came, because the whole school knew that I'm good for nothing. So everybody started laughing, how this guy has come onto the stage to speak. Then I just started talking. I don't know where it came from and how I talked. After about 5 minutes, I could only hear the claps of 6,000 students. And then after that, Father called me. You see, you have this talent. And now you divert yourself into this. And that was the day I realized that I have something different in me, thanks to the Father. That is why in my school also, I always tell, teachers can change the life of the student, a particular student.
Fantastic, fantastic. That's a wrong example for my children, that you're a bad student, but I'm sure people need to know that he finished his MCom, he became an MBA, he finished his ACS, and I'm sure he's one of the authorities in the logistics business. As far as students and teachers are concerned, he went on to create a school, Father Britto School in Chennai, where there are a couple of thousand students learning. I think 3,000 if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
3,000 students, and just to support the industries of logistics, India is on a growth path, and infrastructure development is one of the most interesting subjects for this country. And he saw the shortfall of professionals in the logistics sector. So he has also started a college where people are taught MBA in logistics. It's a 2-year program?
2-year program.
It's a 2-year program. So it not only does it become a support system for his business, but he's also strengthening the country by bringing in professionals for the logistics sector. So is that backward integration? Is it your vision, or is it your give back to the education of the country? What is it?
Talking about logistics? Yes. In fact, our company believes in all-inclusive services under one roof. That is why I have given the slogan to my company, that is competency, competitiveness, and comprehensiveness. When I say if you want to survive in any field, you need to be competent, you need to be competitive, and you need to be comprehensive. Now this comprehensiveness is going to be the solution for India also, if you really want to cut down the logistics cost. Which means...
We are about 13%, I suppose.
Yeah, one of the highest.
And developed countries are below 7%?
Yes, and one of the highest in the world in terms of logistics cost.
Because of the bad infrastructure?
Bad infrastructure, and transaction cost is very high because you have more middlemen and the market is fragmented. Because of that, you pay a high cost. That is why now the logistic industry, with the GST coming in, probably it will have an impact on the GDP and also on the logistics cost.
So was this complication and was this confusion advantageous to your growth? Because whoever can manage confusion in a developing country becomes a bigger businessman in short.
Absolutely, because after 1992, India had started seeing the liberalization, and that time only we started seeing world as one potential market.
So you are happy in the license Raj, or you are happy without the license?
Without the license Raj, because...
your growth happened when there was a license Raj.
Maybe because of the complication of the rules and regulations.
You understood it well because you are more educated than the other professionals in the sector, right?
And then by being transparent, automatically the volume increases. That compensates your growth.
One smart thing Mr. Britto did was, when he started to getting into business, he didn't have the capital to start the business. So he got into business which was services. In services, you just need a table space, you start your business, you become a consultant, and you begin your career. But I think the breakthrough started happening 10 years after 1984. In 1994, you actually got into your own infrastructure development for container sheds and trucks and transportation, and all of that started after 1994.
Exactly. After the start of the liberalization.
Liberalization happened in 1991?
92 onwards. And the first ever private container freight station was conceived by me. I submitted the project, and we were the pioneers. That time in India, only 3 private stations were there, container freight stations. But today we have more than 250 all over India. And same way, we came out with a lot of innovativeness, new concepts in shipping, and thereby we were able to get, when there was an influx of multinational companies into India.
Who taught you innovation? Was it your study abroad?
No.
Visualizing abroad?
Visualizing abroad, yes. And because I never studied, but then I had gone, see, I always think, you have to act locally, but think globally. And that was the concept. Those days when I used to go to Europe, I could see there are so many services, so much of development in the logistics area. And I presumed, and I had the vision, one day, India will also have all these developments. And it started happening after 2000.
So you grew with the development of the country as well, because India also infrastructurally grew in 1984 till today, and you got the advantage of growing with the tide.
Along with that, but of course, we never had proper roads in the last 10 years. Even those areas started getting developed. And I'm sure the way in which we are going, maybe another 10 years' time, it becomes very easy for all the logistics operators to have a much better infrastructure development.
Was the competition of the services that you began in 1984 to 1994, was the competition in that sector motivate you to get into infrastructure, where you created infrastructure so that you beat the competition? Because they don't have the infrastructure. Was that the motivator?
Yeah, because when you started, you were among 2,000 people in India. The moment you start your own infrastructure in terms of supply chain management, in terms of free trade zone warehousing, in terms of container freight stations, automatically what happens is that your competition area comes down. In the sense, you come into the top 10. Wherein, what happens is that, after 2000, many international companies came into India. They really wanted that kind of a service. Only very few players could give that. And we were one of them because we were continuously equipping ourselves to that kind of a development. We were able to serve them, and then we got, our competition got very much down from that, more and more into the top 5.
So your, the ICD that you have in Tuticorin handles more than 35,000 containers a year.
No, we have more
The one in Chennai handles 65,000 containers a year. And the one in Panvel.
You know more statistics.
And the one in Panvel handles more than 100,000 containers in a year. Now, why is it restricted to only these 3 places and towards the south of the country? And why have you not gone towards the north of the country?
No, at present we have, that's why this is about 2 years back video. We have now in Bombay, Panvel area, big project we have already running, up and running. And now next February we are opening a big project in Mundra. So now we have got almost 9 to 10 ICDs and CFSs all over India.
The transport facility that you have in your infrastructure development activity, have you outsourced it or have you taken all the transport vehicles on your company's names?
No, it's very difficult to, the kind of volumes we have, it's not possible to have, that number of vehicles. And another thing is that it is very difficult to manage our drivers. Still, they need skill and professionalism. So it is better to outsource at least 50% of it.
So you believe in outsourcing?
Of course.
Has outsourcing added to your quick growth?
Certainly, because if you really want to grow, you cannot take everything into you. There are better places to invest, and probably you should know prudently, what you need to own and what you need to lease or outsource.
How did you beat your competition during your growth phase?
Basically, what I do is, when there is a competition, I don't look into what exactly they are doing. And I only look into me, what differently I can do. What kind of additional value addition. Today, if you go to any customer, what do you need to give them? What is the value addition? So I was just looking into more and more value additions in order to beat the competition.
What kind of training have you involved in your growth so that your employees become smarter employees and they deliver better services to the customers?
Basically, I develop all my youngsters, giving them on-the-job training. And also, we conduct a lot of training programs, and we also expose them to a lot of new areas, and then keep developing them. Because I always believe, if your staff start developing well, you will also grow faster.
And how do you keep them motivated and keep them with you all the time?
Of course, one is money.
For you or for them?
For them. Money for you, money for them. And the most important thing is that you should give them the right respect in the organization.
Have you created entrepreneurs within your organization as employees?
Yes, in the sense, in their own way, they have so much of freedom. Of course, I give them so much of freedom and also accountability. The freedom makes them to come out with a lot of new ideas, financially, operationally, and even at the stage of execution.
How do you classify yourself as a leader when you lead a workforce of more than 3,000 people? How do you describe yourself as a leader, and how are you different from the other business leaders on a similar business?
One is that I set an example to my people by working very hard. Anytime the accessibility and the approachability is always there. And number 3, I always keep motivating them because, in this business world, everybody is efficient. And we need to make our employees effective. What is the difference between efficiency and effectiveness is that efficiency plus motivation is equal to effectiveness. So my employees are very effective rather than efficient.
So Vimla is his beautiful wife who's the reason behind his success. The cup is to be used only for coffee.